This podcast is brought to you by Team Talk 2.0.
Welcome back to the AI Analysis Podcast. Today, it's another lesson from The Complete Guide to Happiness with Dr. Fantastic. We just watched this really interesting video. It features Dr. Fantastic and his guest, Nicolae Surpala. And wow, it's packed with some pretty big ideas about, personal happiness, but also kindness and even global peace. Lots to get into.
It really was a rich discussion. You've got Dr. Fantastic and Nicolae offering this compelling mix of philosophy and, actual calls to action. What does it mean to live a meaningful life, both for us as individuals and, globally? So yeah, lots for us to unpack here. Try and synthesize these different views on happiness, kindness, and this huge goal of global peace.
Yeah, and that focus on individual kindness, that's classic Dr. Fantastic, isn't it? But what I found really compelling this time was how he connects that personal stuff, that well-being, to the much bigger picture, a global peace, the future of humanity. So for you listening, this material really offers a fascinating synthesis, hopefully gives you an enriched perspective on these pretty critical topics.
Okay, so let's start with Dr. Fantastic's points on what actually, destroys happiness and peace.
Right.
He brought up some quotes from the Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu, which sounded a lot like Lao Tzu in the source material we had.
Right.
Talking about calamity greater than lavish desires, greater guilt than discontentment, and greater disaster than greed. Pretty stark stuff about human nature.
It really is. And Dr. Fantastic connected that ancient wisdom directly to his own thought, didn't he?
Yeah.
Greed corrodes the soul, kindness enriches it. And what's interesting isn't just the moral point, it's how both of them, Dr. Fantastic and Nicolae, talked about greed. Not just personal greed, but corporate greed, individual greed. They frame it as literally destroying the planet. It's an ecological threat, a global one, not just, a personal failing. That shift is really key.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dr. Fantastic brought in Buddha's wisdom. Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment.
Probably.
Classic teaching.
Right. But he adds another layer.
He does. His thought was, we all have one thing in common. The here and now. Make every day fantastic. And that leads straight into that powerful analogy he uses, life as a movie.
Oh, yeah, the movie house.
He says, think of your life as a movie. You're the star, writer, director, and producer.
Mm-hmm.
So the choice, he argues, is totally ours. Are we going to write a horror story? War, crime, trafficking? Or do we consciously make a fantastic movie by making every single scene fantastic? It puts a huge amount of agency and, frankly, responsibility on each of us.
It really does. And if Dr. Fantastic is about individual ownership, then Nicolae Surpala, the ambassador of kindness from Moldova, he shows how that scales up, right?
He's literally traveling the world trying to unite people for peace, offering a practical path. And his definition of happiness, super simple, stay in peace. That's it. It just highlights the basic need for any kind of lasting joy.
And building on that peace idea, Nicolae talks about this radical interconnectedness. He said all 8 billion plus people on the earth, we are like 8 billion cells of one human body.
Wow.
The idea being, war anywhere, unkindness anywhere, it causes pain everywhere. It's like globalized suffering. And he mentioned the 56 current conflicts happening right now. It's a stark reminder, isn't it, of how connected and vulnerable we are.
That 8 billion cells analogy is so vivid. And Nicolae, he didn't back away from connecting this to recent history, did he?
Yeah.
He shared those 2 lessons from the Corona era.
Yeah, the first one was about that universal feeling, maybe, that every human life is important. We need to save everyone, elders, children. It pointed to this, underlying human capacity for kindness, even if we forget it sometimes.
Right, a moment of unity, almost.
But the second lesson was much tougher. He called it the 1% lesson. Citing what he said were official UN stats, that in every country, 1% of the people grab 99% of the wealth and power.
99%.
Yeah, these golden elites, he called them. And his point was, they basically operate without caring about the rest of humanity. It creates this massive imbalance.
And that imbalance, according to Nicolae in the video we watched, is directly linked to conflict.
Exactly.
He connects this economic inequality to the root causes of revolutions, of wars. He argues the powerful cling to their wealth, and that struggle fuels global conflict. It challenges the usual narratives about just ideology causing wars.
So if that's the problem, greed, this huge wealth gap, what's the solution they're offering?
Well, that brings us to Dr. Fantastic's Kindness Revolution, right? On worldkindness.com. The goal seems pretty straightforward. Inspire daily kindness, put smiles on faces, create actual positive change.
And it's more than just individual acts, isn't it? There's the global kindness pledge.
Right. Commit to kindness towards yourself, others, and importantly, Mother Earth. And what stood out in the video was him saying this pledge is already showing results. Specifically mentioned Africa, so it suggests a tangible impact, not just, nice ideas.
Okay, and connecting to that, Nicolae introduced his thing, the Global Peacebuilding Network, which he said was inspired by God. And the goal is huge. Ultimate global peace by 2027.
2027, wow, that's ambitious.
Very. And it's got this structure focusing on 7 key areas: leaders, businessmen, media and culture, educators, institutions, youth, and interfaith for peace. He's trying to cover all the bases, really.
Definitely a multi-pronged approach. And how does he try to get support for this massive network?
He mentioned daily broadcasts promoting peace and also giving out these Peace Ambassador Awards, thousands of them apparently, to global leaders. He even mentioned President Trump receiving one.
Huh. Interesting strategy. Trying to influence the powerful by recognizing any peace efforts they make.
Yeah, and what's compelling is how Dr. Fiassen's Kindness Revolution and Nicolae's Peace Network seem to be aiming for the same thing: more peace, more kindness. Nicolae even sees prayer as the most powerful tool for kindness, adding that spiritual dimension. So there's a kind of synergy there between their movements.
Okay, let's take a quick pause here.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, it doesn't. Yeah, but why we don't have the Planet of the Apes con, or why we don't have the Caesar con?
So I think the reason for that might be because it predates Star Wars, and science fiction was not really, I'm not going to say it wasn't popular, but it was still kind of niche. Star Wars is kind of along with Star Trek, although I think you can make the argument that Star Trek wouldn't have gotten as big as it did without Star Wars kind of kicking the door open for sci-fi.
So you think that they came too early? If I got
It's not that they came too early. I just think by the time Star Wars came around, they just kind of got lumped in with all the other sci-fi. Because there's a lot of apparently not. Apparently, I said they came too early. Apparently not.
And then I say, if I got $1 for every time I heard that.
Call me Mr. Feelgood, we can dance and we can fly together. Call me Mr. Feelgood, spread your wings and we can fly together. Call me Mr. Feelgood, we can dance and
Welcome back to the AI Analysis Podcast. Before the break, we were talking about this big call for unity, but the world has so many different religions, right? How did Dr. Fantastic and Nicolae handle that? How do you reconcile all that diversity with this message of peace?
That's a really important question, and Nicolae talked about it with the Interfaith for Peace part of his network. His angle is about uniting what he called the body of Christ, but he clarified that means all 8 billion people under one God.
Okay.
He stressed it's not kind of promotion, like pushing one religion, but it's more like lifestyle to unite all religions, finding common ground, through shared spirituality.
I see. Unity through shared values, not forcing one belief.
Exactly. And Dr. Fantastic seemed to agree, just saying all religions are fantastic. It shows this broad acceptance, not trying to make everything the same.
That makes sense. Focus on unity, not division. But the video also shared some really tough statistics about children. Those numbers just hit hard.
Oh, yeah.
2 billion kids globally, 1 billion in danger, 460 million in war zones, 150 million orphans, another 150 million with disabilities. And then you hear about trillions of dollars spent on war. It just feels so wrong, such a massive moral and economic imbalance.
Absolutely. And that ties right back to what they were saying about war profiteering. Nicolae was clear. 1% profits from war. 99% suffer these terrible consequences, like the kids. So he urged people to use e-government, online portals, petitions to pressure leaders, pressure them to redirect that war money, use it to help vulnerable children, help communities. It's a call to completely rethink our global priorities.
And Dr. Fantastic brought it down to the individual level too, didn't he?
Yeah.
Pointing out that people invest in war stocks like Boeing or Lockheed, so individuals are actually profiting by the war.
But Nicolae did offer some hope there. He mentioned Google refusing a Pentagon contract for AI for war machines.
Oh, right.
It shows that maybe, just maybe, corporate ethics can sometimes win out over pure profit. That choice for kindness is possible even at that scale.
It's a counterpoint, at least.
Yeah. And looking even broader, both speakers touched on this idea. Dr. Fantastic called it the insanity of humanity.
Right, repeating the same mistakes, expecting different results.
Exactly. But Nicolae had this surprisingly optimistic take on technology. He thinks the internet, 5G, 6G, it's creating so much transparency. It's becoming impossible to hide sins, as he put it. And he argues this will naturally push people towards kindness because, well, accountability becomes unavoidable. Everyone can see everything.
Transparency forcing kindness. That's an interesting idea. But let's be real for a second. Dr. Fantastic himself used that analogy, herding cats, right? For getting people to follow even free programs. So how realistic are these huge goals? Getting billions of people on board with peace and kindness, it seems like human nature often pushes back.
That's a totally fair point. And Nicolae's response seems to be that a world of peace is built day by day, brick by brick. He's not talking about some magic switch. It's gradual, sustained effort.
Okay.
His focus is on creating these model peace communities where everyone, leaders, businesses, religious groups, young people, they all invest in their own community's well-being. It's a bottom-up approach.
Localized. Building from the ground up. And didn't Nicolae also talk about empowering individuals, especially youth?
Yes. Taking franchises for peace and kindness.
Franchises for peace.
Yeah. The idea is they can start their own organizations, their own businesses in those 7 areas. Media, education, whatever. So they create their own money, drive change themselves, instead of just waiting for outside aid or government programs. It's about building self-sustaining initiatives led by the community.
So it's about giving people the tools to build peace themselves.
Exactly. That's why they argue it's not another fantasy, another utopia, but a substantial instrument that is building substantial world of peace and kindness. It's meant to be a practical framework.
Okay. So as we wrap up this lesson, the core message really feels like this urgent call, doesn't it? A global shift away from greed and conflict towards kindness and peace. And it's driven by both us as individuals taking responsibility and by collective action. This whole discussion, it really shows that change has to start by challenging how things are and, owning our part. It's a big challenge for all of us.
It absolutely is. We've covered some really powerful ideas today, some that even seem to conflict a bit, which just highlights why thinking critically about this stuff is so important. The vision they paint is, well, it's hopeful. A transparent, connected future where kindness and peace maybe become the default. But it's also clear that future isn't just going to happen. It takes conscious work, persistent effort, brick by brick, like Nicolae said, day by day.
So as we conclude this lesson, maybe here's something for you to think about. In a world where, like they said, the lines between our choices and global impact are getting blurrier and technology shows everything, what personal brick will you lay down today? How will you help build that kingdom of kindness that Dr. Fantastic and Nicolae Surpala talk about? In your own movie, how will you choose to be the writer, the director of a truly fantastic scene, not just for yourself, but for humanity?
Come with me to discover the transformative power of kindness and the joy it brings. Join me as we explore every Monday morning simple yet profound ways to elevate your happiness, one gesture at a time.
Wow, fantastic, baby. Dance.